Welcome to Muscles and Malarkey, a podcast about all things strength, fitness, and fun. I'm your host, Mary. Today, I want to dive deeper into some common tropes or myths. These are some things that you may have heard around the office at work or at some get-togethers, some social engagements. I actually heard a common myth at work a couple of weeks ago. My coworker was talking to me about their new diet and how the scale had gone up because I'm building muscle and muscle weighs more than fat. I want to ask you a question. What weighs more? A pound of muscle or a pound of fat? Trick question. They weigh the same. The difference is that a pound of muscle and a pound of fat are distributed differently on your body. A theme I've noticed in some Instagram reels and some YouTube shorts. I've been seeing some sculpt your inner thighs or blast your muffin top. You cannot spot reduce fat. And those areas that they are commenting on are kind of clickbaity, right? Because where do women struggle with adipose storage or fat on our bodies? It's usually the inner thighs. It's the muffin top. It's the abdominal. I've seen some for like the bra bulge, bat wing arms. I've had bat wing arms since I was like 16. And I still have bat wing arms. But then I flex my triceps and it goes away. Wow. Who would have thought? I managed to reduce my tricep fat in just one moment. You can work muscles and you can get them stronger. You can work certain muscles and in time, with overall body fat loss, you can see some more muscle definition. As the time progresses though, you are not telling those adipose cells in your right butt cheek to shrink. Your body decreases the size of those storage cells, those adipose cells, as it wants to. You have no control over that. Whether or not you are doing 1,000 scissor kicks or side crunches, that's not telling your body to shrink those fat cells in that area. It's an overall thing, and it's where your body decides to pull fat from. And everyone's different. You gain more muscle tissue in the muscles themselves, and you lose fat in traditional areas where adipose deposits in your body. According to Paoli et al., quote, approximately 10 to 20% of total fat mass is contained in the visceral adipose tissue, the VAT, located centrally and surrounds the internal organs. We need fat in our diets. This is why I want to address the other side of that myth, the scale going up. Here's the thing about scales. Your weight on a scale is simply your relationship with gravity. The scale does not have the ability to differentiate how much of your weight is composed of lean tissue, bone, organs, adipose, water. For crying eyes, you can lose a pound after going to the bathroom. The number on the scale is simply a data point. It does not mean that you are a good person or a bad person. It doesn't negate all the hard work and time and effort that you're putting into the gym. As I like to say, a person's weight is the least interesting thing about them. I know for some people that it's difficult to know what your weight is or to not have an emotional attachment to a number on a scale. I think that's a lot of learned things that we kind of an idea that we have ingrained from growing up. Raise your hand if you were personally victimized by early 2000s reality TV telling you that a 115-pound body was obese or overweight. I personally do have a tough time with knowing what my weight is, so that's why I opt out of getting weighed at my yearly physical. Which, fun fact, if you did not know that, you don't have to get weighed when you go to the doctor's office. You absolutely can defer doing that. And if anyone gives you crap for it, they can go fly a kite. Don't worry though. I just went to my yearly physical and they made sure to print out the after visit summary letting me know that my BMI is not great and that and some helpful tips on how to lose weight. I think that's another great myth to just tackle. And you might be saying to yourself, what do you mean that's a myth? The BMI is something that I've seen in medical documentation. When I go to my doctor's office and they weigh me, it tells me where my BMI is at. Everyone say it with me now. The BMI is bullshit. The BMI is not the best indicator of health, and we're going to break this down. First off, BMI is not as objective as someone's blood work, for example, in predicting a person's level of health. What does BMI stand for? What is it exactly? According to the CDC website, quote, body mass index, BMI, is a person's weight in kilograms divided by the square of the height in meters. BMI is an inexpensive and easy screening method for weight category: underweight, healthy weight, overweight, and obesity. Raise your hand if you've gone to the doctor's office and you've never had a quote-unquote healthy BMI weight. It's me. I'm raising my hand. To continue the quote, BMI does not measure body fat directly, but BMI is moderately correlated with more direct measures of body fat. Let's reiterate one really important point here. As they stated, BMI does not directly measure your body fat. So as someone with a higher amount of muscle mass or lean tissue on my body, I have higher than a 25 on the BMI scale, which means that I am technically labeled as obese. This is someone who goes to the gym 4 days a week. I incorporate cardio. I prioritize protein and good nutrition for my body. I hydrate well. My blood work is great. But if you look at BMI as the only indicator, I'm unhealthy. The information I am about to give you is from a 2024 article from the University of Rochester Medical Center. In this article, they cite Dr. Holly Russell, who is a family medicine physician at UR Medicine. Dr. Russell authored an article titled, "Is It Time to Say Goodbye to BMI? A Commentary." This was published in the Journal of Health Promotion and Maintenance. To quote Russell, "Many of us cling to the belief that a thin body is a healthy body, but recent evidence suggests that that's not necessarily true. For example, new research has shown that some people in the, quote, overweight BMI category have a lower risk of death from heart-related causes than those with a, quote, normal BMI. Despite assumptions that we've come to accept as facts, the evidence linking weight and health is inconsistent, and using a weight-based tool like BMI to draw conclusions about a person's health adds to the confusion. The fact is, there is not a precise link between weight and health outcomes, nor is there evidence to support a fixed belief that higher weight always equals worsening health. A person's health is influenced by a complex mix of health behaviors, genetic factors, lean mass, fitness, and environmental risks." End quote. Now, you may be asking yourself, where did the BMI measurement even come from? To quote UMR, BMI came from the work of a 19th century Belgian astronomer who was designing a population census in the Netherlands. His sample group of high-income, mostly white men, aimed to estimate typical sizes of the total population for the purpose of distributing resources. In the early 1900s, studies were done, primarily based on a white male population, to try to determine the ideal body weight. Mixed results from tests of basic tools to measure body fat, like water displacement, and skin calipers, led to the conclusion that the simple math of BMI should set the standard, and it's been that way ever since. End quote. Guess BMI really isn't that right. I think it's really interesting that we have made so many advances in the medical field, but we still hold on to this archaic, inaccurate measure of health. And doctors use this to give recommendations on weight loss. Shaking my head. Let me put it this way. There is no one ideal weight. I know in my own life experience that my body feels better and works better when I'm around a certain weight. In my past history, that ideal set weight has changed a little bit. It depends on the input and information I'm giving my body. When I'm around that certain weight, that is my ideal weight. That's the weight where my blood work looks good, my energy levels are normal, my mood stays pretty steady. That's not set on a specific number that I pulled out of a calculator. That's based on me, all those different factors that Russell was commenting on in her quote. Please remember this stuff next time you go to the doctor's office and you get that stupid after visit summary. Don't focus on a number. Instead, I recommend putting your effort into being consistent with treating yourself well and taking care of your body. And that is however that looks for you. Like we've talked about in the past, prioritizing movement, doing things that bring you joy, giving yourself good nutrition that supports your goals and supports, that good blood work, good cholesterol levels, good lipid levels. Those things are what you need to take care of. And you will find different ways to take care of yourself, and make sure you're finding that balance in your life too. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Muscles and Malarkey. There's always going to be myths floating around the fitness sphere. Do you have any fitness myths that you used to believe? Let me know. And if you have any fitness-related questions that you want help with, send me a DM on Instagram at musclesandmalarkey or email musclesandmalarkey@gmail.com. Please leave a review and subscribe. I'd love to hear your feedback. Yeehaw and yee claw, everybody.